behind the scenes footage right here.
And the scenes.
And
the audio scenes.
And in front of the scenes?
In the scenes.
In the scenes. IBAS Business Radio with Adam Pearson and Zach Nelson.
Yeah, that's me.
Offline here, we were just talking about selling. Mm-hmm. Zach was telling me he sucks at selling.
I'm terrible at it.
So what makes you think that? What is it about selling that you think you suck at?
Connecting on a human level.
You suck at that? You seem good at that.
No, I'm not really. Like.
So what about when you're out preaching? Or you're out volunteering? You're not able to connect with people, or even then, are you terrible?
That's different.
I know it is different. But you said generally you suck at connecting on a human level. But not always, right?
Yeah, I guess because when I'm preaching, it's something I try really hard. Like it's to bring out my emotion.
Yeah.
But like when I'm selling, it's like I have a hard time.
I think the real key, if you're going to go out and try to sell something, is first you actually have to believe in the thing you're selling. So that just trying to take a sales job and you don't care about the product you don't want it, that already is going to be tough. So in my case for selling, I own the business and I actually like what we do and I believe in it and I'm the owner and I know what I stand for. I know integrity. So when I go out and talk to somebody about something, it's not hard for me to talk to them in a way where I can have the connection because it's something I believe in. But if you just take a sales job and you don't believe in it, then yeah, that'll be extremely limiting. So what have you tried to sell? But what about when you were selling washing machines? You sold a lot of those.
That I sell washing
okay,
machines.
So why were
because they work.
Okay. I needed them.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's the key. That honestly, man. So that's the whole key to selling. And I think the thing about selling that a lot of people struggle with is it's not like mowing your lawn. Where like you run the lawnmower over the patch of grass and then you look down, it's like, all right, it cut it. Like, result. I did a thing and there's a result. Or if you're a cook, it's not like you flip a pancake and you put it on a plate, you put it out and people start eating. It's like, I did that and it's done. And now, no, it's more like you do activities for a super long time that result in nothing for a really long time. But then you get one thing that covers all of it. So for example, I used to love selling door to door. I still love selling door to door. It's a weird thing to like. Actually, because you walk by like all these business parks and you see all these office doors and all these office buildings. But when you step inside, there's these hidden worlds that exist inside these buildings. And if you step in there, you can see like the creation of some individuals that they're working on every single day. And they've built up this little secret world that they and maybe 10 or 20 other people exist in that nobody even knows about. It's just there.
Pretty cool.
So I've stepped into some pretty cool spaces. But the deal with it is, just to give you some math on door-to-door selling. So our average deal might be like $300 a month. And the commission that we would pay on $300 a month is we annualize it. So you go 300 times 12 gets you to $360. All right. And so you get a $360 commission for making one sale. From my experience out selling, I found that I could at least make one sale a day when I was out selling door to door. Right? It might, it takes you some time. You probably have to knock on 100 doors, walk into 100 doors. But, 100 doors is like 12 doors an hour. I mean, it's not really that many. You just walk into one, you walk into the next one. So if you're walking around all day, 8 hours, you find a company and you're able to sell them. So what's 8 into 360? I mean, it's a pretty good day. It's like $45 an hour. But the hard thing about it is you get rejected 99 times just to get that one sell. And so you don't, throughout the day, you don't really feel like you're doing stuff. It all feels sort of like a waste until you get that one, and then it covers the whole period of time. But that's, that's a tough mental thing to get your head around. Yeah. Your dad's in sales. What has he struggled with?
Not making sales.
Yeah.
He always says, when you're making sales, it's the best job in the world. When you're not making sales, it's the worst job in the world.
That's what I was saying, man. Like, again, it's not like we're doing construction where you just like nail stuff and you go a long time, you go long stretches without any action. But then the one thing theoretically should cover up all the time that you missed.
Yeah.
How's he doing now? He's had good stretches,
He's
right?
been struggling. Actually, his whole company has been struggling
Yeah.
in the area. He says because they've expanded into a lot of like all outdoor living, and they used to just be like pavers, so they had all the paver jobs. But now that they're really broad, so it's like the company's losing their focus.
Mhm.
And on top of that, a lot of people that did work for the company have made their own companies now.
Yep. So there's a lot of competition.
A lot of competition,
Yeah, that stuff is rough.
loss of focus.
Yeah, that stuff is pretty rough. So some of that stuff's not his fault. It's just general market conditions.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're a good salesman. If you were selling something you actually liked,
Probably.
that would be the key thing.
Yeah.
There's another thing too, selling to people you actually like. If you don't like the person you're talking to or you don't respect them, then it's hard. It's really hard to get that connection. In my case, we work with business owners, and I don't know how I came across it, but I just have a natural admiration for business people and business owners because it's a super hard thing to choose to do. Like really, it's a very hard thing to choose to do. And so when I get together with business owners, I have that natural, we're talking about like that natural empathy. I have natural empathy for business owners. And since I have so much experience working for business owners, like more than just the accounting stuff I talk to them about, like I know what their life is like. I can relate to that. And so when I get together with people, like I can really connect on that level. Dude, another key thing, have you ever read the book, How to Make Friends and Influence People?
I listened to it.
Have you listened to the whole thing?
I listened to the whole thing.
So that one of the things that guy talks about is for salespeople, you don't even really need to worry about like selling the thing. You just need to worry, forget about the thing you're there to sell, about making a friend. That like there was an expression which is make a friend, make a sale. So if you just set aside all the business, this is a great strategy, and just show up and like how to make friends and influence people. A guy walks into an office, he's going to make a sale, and he sees the dude fishing, and so instead of talking about the thing he's there to sell, he just talks to the dude for fishing for like an hour, wins him over, and then at the end the guy's like, "How are you in here?" He's like, "Oh, we sell alarms. Do you guys have needs for alarms in your business?" And the guy's, as a matter of fact, I think we do. I want to put you in touch with the guy that you need to talk to. So that's another great tip. If you want to take some of the off, just focus on having like a great personal connection. And then after that is established, then get into the thing where you try to solve a problem. Another thing is just always remember you're there to like try to solve a problem and not sell it.
That's true.
Yeah. So like the washing machine, you're there dude can't wash his clothes, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're there to fix. So
yeah, with the washing machine thing, I would just post them on Craigslist and people would call me.
Yeah, so that was pretty easy.
It was pretty easy.
Yeah.
But here was the good thing. Here's what I did that I think got a lot of people was I would haul away for free their old one.
And other people wouldn't do that?
Yeah.
With their extra? Or did you charge extra for that? No. Good one, man.
So and they would get $20 off if they let me haul their old one away.
Oh, because then you would take it back to your house and fix it up. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, have you ever heard of the concept of a unique selling proposition?
Unique selling.
USP?
USP.
Yeah.
I've heard of like a USP, I think it is.
What is it, like a unique value proposition?
Yeah.
It's probably the same, but that's like a little thing where you just makes you stand out from the crowd.
Stand out.
Yeah, like if a business person's talked to 1 million, but you come in there and you have just some slightly different thing than what they're used to hearing about, then it just sets you apart. It can make them more likely to buy from you. But from what I've heard from talking to you, because you said that thing about not having empathy or not having sympathy, do you like people generally, or do people piss you off generally?
I think the majority of people annoy me.
They just annoy you. So that would be a difference between us too.
I want to like people, but it's like everybody's so busy and they're so it's so hard to connect to them, in my opinion.
It's true.
Because they're so occupied.
That's very true. Our society lends itself to just working super hard and not having a ton of personal connection. We were talking about that immigrant episode. In other countries, it's like people get together a lot more. So that's something we're really missing in American culture. That's true. But I have sort of, what would be the word? I got sort of a paradoxical relationship with people. I love people. Like generally, I just love people. I love everybody. Really, that's the truth, man. Like my favorite activity is to go to a mall and just watch people. I'm a people watcher. I like to take a book and sit in the mall and just watch like a dad hugging his son. Then a mom comes by and she's like arguing, with her oldest daughter.
Yeah.
And I just love all of it. And I just like, dang, would you look at these people?
Would you
Like
look at that?
their life is thrilling. I don't know. There's something about it that I just love. So
That's good.
it's easier for me to make connection that way. But the other part of it is I just can't get my head around how weird people are and how much waste there is and why people act how they act. It's so I got sort of like a dual thing happening.
Yeah.
But my number one tendency is to really be fascinated by people and to really care about people.
That's good.
And so
That's a good thing, yeah.
helps me in selling. That helps me in selling. But maybe you don't. I mean, not everybody needs to be a salesman. But if you want to be an entrepreneur or a business person, if you can't sell, you're dead. Like you're dead on arrival. Like if you don't like selling,
Yeah, it's true.
I think that's like the number one thing that kills most small businesses is they're like a technician. They're good at doing something. Like they're good at fixing computers.
Mhm.
It's like, well, I'm going to open up a computer repair shop. And they open up the computer repair shop and no one comes.
Nobody comes.
Yeah, because you have to go out into the community and let people know you're there. And you have to advertise and do that kind of stuff. So how do we get on the topic of selling? We were talking about, I was talking about my work. We were talking about my work history.
Your work history.
Yeah. I think taking a sales job is a super smart idea for young people to do, just to learn that skill, even if you don't like it, just to figure out how to do that, because it helps in every way later on in life,
Yeah, I believe it.
especially to be a business owner. But you're not ever going to get into selling.
I don't know.
You
never know what's going to happen.
Well, you know what you might be able to do? I was just reading, just dabbling. I didn't really read it, but I was just,
Skimming.
I was perusing it. Like there's this, there's a whole bunch of authors along these lines, but one's called Dan Kennedy, and he teaches you how to write sales copy, sales emails, sales letters, how to do. He doesn't teach it specifically, but there's a lot of courses where you can learn how to do Google AdWords or Facebook ads or create landing pages. Have you ever heard of a company called ClickFunnels? You should check out ClickFunnels, man.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, because
we have ClickFunnels.
So inside of ClickFunnels, then if you want to log in there, somewhere in there, there's like a video library of a bunch of free training programs where they teach you how to sell, but you don't actually ever have to like be in touch with anybody. You just write up everything you want to say in such a way that is compelling. So maybe that type of selling would be more along your lines.
It's true.
Are you not interested in that at all?
Well, that's better because one of the issues I have with selling is it's really uncomfortable.
Which part of it's uncomfortable for you?
When you're talking to somebody.
The whole thing is uncomfortable, but you're good at talking. So like just the whole part of talking to anybody makes you a little bit uncomfortable?
Just the idea that like literally I'm there to sell them something. Like I have a hard time getting past that. Like trying to be friends with them seems so...
It seems artificial.
It seems fake.
It seems fake. Yeah, I get that. So I would say this. They didn't agree to have you into their office because they want you to be their friend. That's so you're right a little bit, like where you're pushing super hard to create rapport and be their friend, but you don't necessarily have to be their best friend or their true friend. And this goes both ways. You don't want to do business with someone where it's cold. Like you want it to be warm. For you too, like if you're going to come over to someone's, like if you're going to do work for somebody, you don't want it to be like a super cold relation. I mean, you would like all of your human interactions to be somewhat warm, right? Yeah. So it's the same thing. It's like just trying to get on some common ground. But also, anybody who has you into their office for a sales meeting. So you're talking about the part where you just walk up on someone cold, like, "Hey, I want to sell something."
Up on someone.
Yeah. So that part you shouldn't even try to be their friend. You should just let them know what you got and try to see if they already have a need for it. I'd say like a big part of selling too is realizing that you're not trying to convince people to do what you want them to do. You're trying to find people who already have a need that you know how to. So like, what would be the word, like panning for for gold. You ever hear that
Offering your
expression?
cookie.
Just going out, so you like cookies? No. No. You like cookies? You like cookies? No, I don't like them. You like them? No, I don't like. I don't like. And one dude's like, yeah, I love cookies. Like, you got any cookies in the office? It's like, no, we just ran out. It's like, dude.
I have cookies.
And then you try to like, we're we're soulmates, man. I have cookies.
Yeah.
He's like, what? I was just thinking like,
I need-
and this happens, man. So we got a big client here in Issaquah
Mhm.
who I was just out selling door to door. I went into this medical building
Mhm.
where inside this building they just have like rows of different practitioners. And I just walked up. I'm like, hey, I'm from Issaquah Bookkeeping. She's like, stop right there. We need a bookkeeper. I'm like, all right, yeah.
Like this.
It's like, well, like I guess I actually said this. Like, I guess we're soulmates. And she called me back there, and we
That's
signed them up.
great.
So, and that person pays us a good amount. I was only out there for like an hour and a half when I met that
That's
person.
awesome.
So, but that'd be the key too. So, like, what does your dad sell?
Like paver patios.
What does he do? Does he go out door to door?
No, well, he can get self-gens, but for the most part, it's canvassers or
Okay, so they have other people going out selling door to door, trying to set up meetings for him.
yeah, there are different forums. I mean, they're pretty big now, so they just get a lot of calls in.
Okay,
Or home advisor, lots of forums, I guess.
so I guess so. He goes out there, he meets with them, he
Yeah.
assesses their needs, but then they probably just when it comes time to talk price, they're like, I don't want to spend $20,000.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, that's probably the number one thing. That's a tough thing because like with the book, that's a tough one. So with bookkeeping or accounting, there usually is a felt need. It's like my person quit, I need someone right away. We have deadlines, like things have to happen. So there's a sense of urgency. Whereas home renovations, unless you need a plumber because water's coming out of your toilets, that's a little less
It's
urgent.
a want.
It's a
not a
want.
need.
It's not a need. So is your dad gonna? We don't need to talk that much about your dad. He probably doesn't appreciate us like, talking about his personal life on the podcast. So that would be another thing, man. If you're thinking about selling stuff, trying to get into an area like washing machines where there's like there's a need,
Mhm.
and that makes things like move a lot faster rather than it being something that's a want.
Right.
So
Filling need.
filling a need. All right, man. I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick pitch.
Something.
17 minutes? Doesn't it feel like we've only been talking for a second?
Yeah.
17 minutes, dude. Dang. All right. IBAS business. We got a cost reduction service. It's awesome. I just worked on this presentation that maybe we will make available at some point, but we saved one of our clients $80,000 a year in 6 weeks. We're offering that exact same service for, I probably have to raise the price on this. It's $500. We'll do the whole thing for $500. We save one company $80,000 a year. We guarantee you we'll save you at least $5,000. Otherwise, we'll give you a full refund, guaranteed 10x on the cost reduction service. If you want to check that out, go to ibasbusiness.com, go down to the cost reduction section, or give me a call 425-332-5058, extension 101. Cost reduction service, ibasbusiness.com. I think I already said all that. All right. So I wanted to ask you something. Can I?
Well, that's what we're here for.
For me to ask you stuff? All right. Did you want to say anything else about this issue? All right. Okay. So you're not political, right?
Right.
So not political. I have no idea what's going on at all. All right. I had no clue about what's going on in politics or anything. So this is just more of a general issue. When I was, I accidentally gone to 94.9 here. Did you know that was NPR?
No, I
All
didn't.
right. Oh, you don't even listen to the radio.
I've heard NPR,
All right.
like,
You don't even listen to the radio though.
but they have a podcast.
Do they?
Yeah.
All right, but
NPR, it's a big podcast.
But can
too.
you? And what do they talk about on? You listen to it, but I don't know. The
stuff
radio station on Spotify or something from NPR.
like recorded podcasts?
Okay,
just like
so
we do that.
this was like live coverage of the things going on.
Okay.
Have you heard about that?
Is it have?
Yeah, the
Okay.
impeachment thing. On the news once in a while.
Well, yeah, I get a daily email.
All right, cool. I know what the headlines are, so you can
Mhm.
stay up on things. So I haven't even checked into any news in probably 5 weeks. Like, I have no idea what's going on anyway about stuff I don't know about. So I just clicked. I was listening to the impeachment, and I was struck by a couple of things. So I didn't know what it was. I had to ask my brother know what's going on with this? With
I know a little bit.
What?
So, isn't it have to do with which country? I can't remember which. Ukraine. There was something that Trump like kind of took it, that what, like, if he left it alone, it wouldn't have been an issue, but because I guess I'm kind of
I didn't know any of it, right? So it was politics. So I guess Ukraine and Russia are at war with each other. Okay. And the United States has been supporting the Ukrainian side. They've been giving them money and weapons and stuff because I guess I don't know why. Even though there's some stuff about Russia that's objectionable, like they don't have religious freedom, which I hate. But in fact, I think putting witnesses in jail and stuff, and a bunch of refugees had to come over here.
Mm-hmm.
So Russia, seriously, that's awful. Any country that doesn't have freedom is. This is not the year 1300. This is the year 2020. It's outrageous. But anyways, there's still no reason for the United States as a country to be at war with Russia, the country.
Haven't they? So there's been like
tensions. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Even so, they were our ally in World War II against Nazis. So like, and then we beat the Nazis. After that, there started to be a major. And then after was part of the Cold War. That's what Cold War. And Cold War, a hot war is like we're actually shooting at each other. A Cold War is where you're sort of maneuvering for political influence. Mm-hmm. That's why it's a Cold War. All right. So
that makes sense.
The whole Cold War was us versus Russia, and they were trying to get countries into their sphere of influence. We were trying to get countries into our sphere of influence. It was supposed to have ended, I guess, when communism fell and the Berlin Wall came down. Mm-hmm. But there's still apparently a lot of tension. Like the United States hates Russia for some reason. So I guess the United States was giving money and weapons and stuff to Ukraine war against Russia. And then Trump said to the government of Ukraine, unless you help me find some embarrassing facts about Joe Biden, whatever, like the Democratic candidates he's going to have to run against in 2020. He said to the people of like the Ukrainian guys, I think this is what it is. Unless you help me take some of my political opponents, we're going to cut off the money and the arms. And you're going to have to keep fighting Russia by yourself. Like that. I
thought that was the... Who started it, though?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe you're right. But I think it's like his administration.
Oh, his administration. Okay.
And so the other side's like, well, that was terrible, and you should be impeached because of what you did. I don't know if that's right or wrong.
But wouldn't impeachment take so long to that he would be finished with this term anyways?
You maybe know more than I do. I don't know.
Isn't that what happened with like who?
Bill Clinton?
Yeah. Like
yes, so he was technically impeached in the House, but he kept serving. There's this whole thing you got to go through. Like the Congress has to impeach you, then the Senate has to ratify it or something. And I don't know what the votes are, but yes, I think from what I understand from talking to my dad about it, he mentioned he just mentioned off the cuff, there's no chance that Trump's going to get impeached. So I was struck by two things as I listened to this hearing. First, and after talking to my brother, that is a pretty scumbag thing to do. To go to a foreign supposedly allied with, and you're the president and asking foreign government to help you take down your political opponents so that you could get reelected. Otherwise, you'll pull away all the support that you promised to them. That's a scumbag thing to do. Two, to even be involved in a war that two other countries are in. Like, why are we even involved in that? Shouldn't we just be minding our own business? Don't we have like homeless people and poor people that need government support? Do we really need to be involved in wars between Ukraine and Russia?
Gotcha.
That, and then the third is like the whole government now is in this thing of trying to impeach the president. That also seems like a huge waste, right? Like, couldn't they be doing other stuff instead of this thing that ultimately might not actually happen? So as a step by those three things. So we were talking about before, I love people watching and I love people, but I'm also baffled by so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, shouldn't it be the case that the president is like the most outstanding person in the country? Doesn't it seem more logical that that would be the case? Like,
You would think.
the best example, the most highly moral person, the person who wants to help people, has tons of integrity.
Yeah, anyone would assume that.
You would assume that, right? Because all this money and time and effort and campaigning gets spent on it. You know how we end up with these really bad people in charge of the country.
Well, yeah, I mean, being in charge would be a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
And
That's true.
nobody's perfect.
Nobody's
So
perfect. That's right.
no matter what, nobody can succeed.
It's almost, yeah, so that's a good point. So it's like almost an inherently impossible position for a human being to be. But setting that aside, it seems like somehow we, like as a country, actually put up people who, if you just look at past history,
Mm-hmm.
don't have a very clean record even before they step into that position. Like you mentioned Clinton before. Like, do you remember why he got impeached?
Wasn't it an affair?
It was an
like
affair. It was a crazy affair. But Bill Clinton had a long history of all kinds of immorality. Like now he's been raped. Like he was a sexual predator. Terrible, like a bad dude before he became the president. And then he also Trump. I don't know that much about Trump, but he's been divorced like 3 times and they've all been for like infidelity. Like that his whole background is. And somehow, like, those are the dudes that end up
get elected.
How come we can't just have like a good dude? You know what I'm saying? Does it seem like that would be sense?
There's a
Like, even if you can't actually do a good because the job is possible.
a bunch of stickers I've seen that say any functioning adult 2020.
For real, that wouldn't that be a nice change of pace? Just some regular, good kind of square person who just doesn't do that much.
Name John Doe.
Or yeah, just whatever. Yeah, John Doe. Like I know some dudes who are just straight down the line, awesome dudes, and maybe they just don't do anything. Like you know, like the job is impossible. So what if you came up against a job, or let's say like a washing machine that can't be fixed.
Those do exist.
All right, you show up to the place, right? And it's like I'm looking at the washing machine. I don't think I can fix it. Right. And they're like, okay. And you're like, so I guess I won't. I guess I just won't fix it then.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, well that sounds pretty good. And you're like, all right, well I'll see you later. You take their money. You don't defraud them. So if the job is inherently impossible, why not just not even take a shot at it, but just don't mess stuff up? I feel like that would be the approach. I've always thought that. Situation. So the other thing would be you could go there and go, no, I think I could fix it. And then you start like messing around with it and you leave the parts like sprawled out all over the floor and you actually make the situation worse than it would have been if you just didn't do anything. So sometimes you get into a situation where doing nothing is the right thing.
That's true.
Actually, going back to business, man. Here's an example. One of our clients had a terrible president. He was running the company to the ground. And I had to talk to the owner. I said, you got to fire this guy or you're going to go bankrupt. And he said, who would I hire? And I said, hire your son. And he's like, but my son has no business experience. I said, all he has to do in his office and play solitaire. Like, just if you do, that will be better than this. And there's a lot of situations like that. Good. You know, like a negative number is smaller than 0. I mean, sometimes you just take 0. Like it's better than a negative number. That's true. Yeah, I think there's a lot of situations like that. Well, so this whole 30 minutes, but is there anything else that you wanted to?
No.
All right.
We've got another podcast.
Yeah, I guess we got another one. I guess this all comes back to this common theme. I cannot get it out of my head, and I can't stop talking about it. Why so much waste? So much waste in the world. Why? Where? Why? Why all this waste? Imperfection. It does, right? That's actually quite a good, but there's no fighting it. So we're in another situation where trying to fight imperfection is an inherently impossible task. So why let it bother you? You just have to accept that it is, right?
And you can.
And just work on yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, what that basically boils down to is you got to try to work on yourself. I guess you have to kind of try to spread the word to help other people figure out how they could deal with their own imperfection. That's a good thing to do. You do that. On the religious front, I do that by yelling at little kids at the grocery store that they shouldn't buy soda. So we're pretty similar in that one. So we're both on the level on that one. And then, but other than that, I guess you just have to accept people how they are and not try to let it drive you crazy.
Yeah.
Number one thing that drives you, dude. Like, why are we even doing all of this at all? Like, we put ourselves through it. That doesn't get to you? All right, man. Maybe it's because you don't care about people as much as I do. It's like, I don't even care about that guy. Like, who cares what happens to him? I don't even like him anyways.
I mean, you can't force people to change or to do things.
That's true.
That's the thing.
So where's the balance between not forcing them, but at least hitting them with some knowledge? Are you allowed to hit people with knowledge?
It's like the cookie.
Yeah.
You know, if they want it, you can help them.
Yeah.
If they don't, there's nothing you can do.
So you do need to get out there with knowledge to spread a good message.
Right.
And if people are ready to hear, you're already open to getting some enlightenment, to get wisdom, then you're right in there. But if they're not in the market for it, then it is what it is. Oh, that's good. That's a good point. That's a good way to tie it together.
Back to the cookie.
So so the sales principle of just trying to find someone who's already ready for what you got should also be applied to like general improvements to humankind. You can't force it on them, but there's a lot of thirsting for knowledge and for wisdom, and so you got to keep putting it out there in hopes that you might be able to find that one person who needs what you're offering. All right, Zach. Good, dude. Very up and zip it out. Zippity doodah.